But I really want to talk about guns.
I got some things to say, but
okay.
I'll wait until
I want to talk about guns.
the subject.
Yeah. All right.
Yeah, let's talk about guns.
All right, Alex.
Let's get started with this first. Alex.
Yes.
Today we're talking about guns, people. We are prepared to stop these murders by any means necessary.
Ooh.
Black Lives Matter leader declares war on police and group is, quote, training our people to defend our communities in Black Panther-styled armed patrols. That was a bold statement. I read that. I was like, declare war. I mean, it sounds kind of scary, right?
Yeah.
I kind of like it.
Well,
I'm like, what's so hold on. You mean to tell me this dude, Hank Newsom, is saying in his community, he wants to keep their community safe, exercise his legal rights. I
don't see
it. And give people in their community a purpose. You know, they have something to get up for. Be like, you know what? I'm patrolling the neighborhood, keeping it safe today. I feel good. Yeah, because I'm doing something for my community. That's awesome. I love it.
I don't like this though. Declaring war. It's like, bro, don't.
Yeah, on the police when we see Black people getting killed right now and their business is being destroyed right now.
By looters.
Well, right.
By who knows who, but it's like, but they're not bringing those up. Why are they talking about that?
You see that sassy woman who was like, you said Black Lives Matter, but what about my store? What about me? And, you know what I mean?
Yeah, exactly.
But what I mean with this is you've got a guy who is Hank Newsom, activist, law-abiding citizen, apparently a gun owner, I guess.
I imagine.
All legal things.
Yep.
And they're saying they use the language declaring war on police because it's a shock sensational title.
True.
And I'm like, come on.
Did he even say that though?
Probably not, but we'll read it because
Alex Jones said that's what Joe Rogan said. He's bringing the war to, and it's like, no, that never happened. It's being embellished. And
but
this is the mainstream media we're talking about. So.
And I think it's fair, if you want to be like, but this one's like not the time because he's talking about arming his community. And if you say he's declaring war on the police while arming his community, it sounds like people are going to go march to the police department with guns. And that's not what he's talking about. He's talking about Black Panther style community patrols. They say in an exclusive interview, Newsom says the BLM movement has marched for years to wake people up to the realities of police brutality and oppression. And he believes that since the tragic death of George Floyd, who died after his neck was pinned under the knee of a white police officer during an arrest on Memorial Day, people have finally awoken. It's our obligation, it's our duty to provide people with a pathway forward. And that's the purpose you were talking about. Dude, I actually am really optimistic about this. Here's a quote, we want liberation, we want the power to determine our own destiny, we want freedom from an oppressive government, and we want the immediate end of government-sanctioned murder by the police. I'm like, awesome. That sounds very, very 1776 of you, brother.
Yeah, I'm loving it.
That's all good things.
Yeah, right?
Agreed.
So he says, we're preparing and training our people to defend our communities. Now, what does that mean? I do fear there's going to be anti-police conflict or sentiment, but I also believe if you have, there was a group called Legally Armed in Detroit, I think it was, standing on the steps of the Capitol, firearms trainers, and they had no problems. I think if you have, like, look, man, if you have armed community patrol groups, you got to do a lot more than just train people and give them guns. You let the police know, like, hey, here's who we are, here's what we're doing, give us a call. We want to make sure we're taking care of things. Here's the good thing about it. I'm right now, we are seeing in polls, I can't remember which polling group this was, support for Black Lives Matter through the roof, skyrocketing. Even among Republicans, it's way up. And it's really low among Republicans. And I'm like, this is all good. It's all good. Because here's what, I thought about this. And I'm seeing all the tribalist stupidity on Twitter. Okay. And what they're talking about is, they're like, they showed a clip of like Black people marching with guns. And they did this like, haha, white conservatives, look what we're doing. And I'm like, I'm sure they're happy you're doing it. Yeah. You know what I mean? Like, that's what they've been arguing for this whole time.
Yeah.
Right.
So I started thinking about it.
Good point.
They were saying, I'm thinking like, what is the outcome of this going to be? They're demanding police reforms. And I'm like, I'm down with that.
Yeah, me too.
Yep.
I think how it's done is important, but it can be done as a good thing. You look at, what's going on with a lot of these stories that are coming out. I don't like how it goes to a racial place. Because I grew up on the south side of Chicago, man. I know poor people who have been affected by, police misconduct or whatever. But I think about what's coming out of this. And you've got calls for more accountability. I dig it.
Yep.
You've got liberals buying guns like crazy. And I'm like, you know what? I dig it. If people take responsibility for themselves. Now, there is a concern. So I'll let everybody know. I went today. I'm taking care of business to get set up, to get everything I need to get.
Yep.
And I'm not going to get too specific on, what I've done so far, because I don't, my business that's my private security. But I'll just say I was talking to a guy involved in the process who said he's concerned about a lot of untrained people who've been buying up guns like crazy.
Yeah.
That makes sense.
So he was like, make sure you do the right thing, man. And he gave me a bunch of advice and stuff. And I'm like, I got it. You know, I hear you, bro. I actually have done a police academy training. So they walk you up with all the different guns and stuff. And so, but I'm far from an expert. But there is a concern about that. But I'm thinking about what he's talking about. I think it would be actually great to see these communities have purpose, like you mentioned.
Yeah.
Now there's responsibility for these young people. Now when there's problems, they have to hold their own accountable. And I mean like people who live in their neighborhood. I'm not talking about a race thing.
It's not like they're just going to be walking around and letting people do, you know, illegal things that are frowned upon by general society. You know, I'm just kind of put a blanket term out there, but it's not just going to be the police that they're going to be holding accountable. They're going to be standing there holding everyone accountable, you know? So and
exactly.
Yeah, it's just going to raise the level of everyone being...
Dude, this is great.
Yeah, I agree.
It's
awesome. And this is what everybody needs.
Think about this. Let's say you live in a neighborhood and one day some kid is robbing a house and you have community policing.
Yep.
The people know who the cop is. The cop is a part of the community, or even a neighborhood watch. And they see Billy Johnson's kid robbing it. So then they tell the neighbors, everybody knows, everybody hears, everybody gets pissed off.
Yep.
And they go to Billy Johnson, they're like, your kid, I caught him.
Yep.
And I'll like, I'll stop it, it'll never happen again. Because now there's real concern about being ostracized by their neighbors and their community. And there's a real connection. You also have the people engaging in community watch. They have responsibility to the community too.
Yep.
Imagine if, like, you know, when we were talking about the Atlas gym, for those that aren't familiar, there's a gym nearby to where we live. Big national story because they were trying to reopen during the lockdown. The governor threatened them. They came and they were ticketing people and arrested one guy for not, you know, showing his ID. And I'm thinking about, they brought in police from outside the city because the local cops wouldn't do it.
That's really interesting.
Yeah, they didn't want to be shunned by the people they live around. It's like, that's the opposite of what we need.
Yeah.
So there are challenges with, like, what happens when someone from one community comes to the other community, and then you treat them like normal. I think if these people are going to take care of their own neighborhoods, more importantly, like giving purpose to people to be responsible for the upholding and defense of their community. I'm imagining what happens when, you know, we see a lot of videos going around right now of looting and stuff in New York. What would happen if these people got caught by their own neighbors? You ever see that video? This is hilarious, of a mom catching her son at a riot.
Oh yeah, in 2017.
Yeah, where was that?
So I think that was at Baltimore.
Yeah.
Yep. She caught her.
And was she like hitting him with her purse?
Slipper, I think.
Yeah, she's hitting him with
my
the classic.
goodness.
Yeah.
Yes.
Like, what are you doing? He's like, I'm sorry, mom. I'm sorry, mom. That's the kind of connection we need.
And they're, you know what I find interesting? They're calling for, you know, defund the police. And it's like, well, we kind of need the police. We need the police. You know, there's good police out there. But if this is what they're going to plan on doing, we won't need as many police. So it's kind of a win-win for them to actually mobilize and start protecting their neighborhoods. Like, you know, that's awesome.
Dude, this is crazy. Yeah. This is like a huge conservative/libertarian victory in some regards, of like the shrinking
in many regards
of government powers.
Yeah, exactly.
This has been the writing's been bad. The tribalism's been really bad.
Definitely.
It's really, really annoying how the tribalism is functioning through this, especially when I think one of the most, like, man, just heartbreaking things for me to watch very early on, where I'm seeing all of these conservatives, even Rush Limbaugh, being like, I'm heartbroken by watching this video of George Floyd. And I'm like, we've done it, everyone.
Yes.
We are all united.
We're all actually united.
Yeah.
And then
let's riot and tear everything down.
Yeah, right.
Why?
It's like, but we're all with everybody. We all agree here.
And then when a lot of conservatives started pointing out like this rioting is bad, they got attacked for it.
Yeah, exactly.
And I'm like, dude, we were ready to hold hands under the rainbow, man.
It's like
that's the dream.
There's someone out there that hates that. They don't want us together. They want to split us up. Everything I'm reading is either people fighting to be like, let's stay together, or if you're not on my side, you're over there and you're the enemy. So let's divide further and keep us all separated.
Yeah.
We don't want anyone together. It's like, no. That is a problem. And I'm seeing it too much. Even friends of mine are saying, it's like, that's the issue. All these other people, it's like everyone was a COVID expert. Now they're like a civil rights experts. And it's like, no, you can't just say this is the answer. There's so many different things that we need to think about, but we all need to be accountable. These cops are being held accountable. Awesome. It's good.
Adam, are you saying it's complicated?
Yes.
I think I know what you really mean.
Did I just say it, Tim.
But this is the point. I think there's a famous
Feels
quote
good.
about the stupid people find simplicity and the intelligent people find the complexity or something like that.
Yeah.
But I think what you're really saying is that there's some kind of force driving people apart, making us hate each other.
Yeah.
China.
China.
That's
Honestly,
China.
That's I have seen enough random things. Some people have posted some random stuff about it, and it's like, it's not that far fetched. Who has a lot to gain?
By the way.
I know you were joking, but I'm
half joking.
I'm gonna go ahead and say the conspiracy of it. It's like we were already intense, we weren't at war, but like
Trade war.
It's tense. Yeah, we're in a trade war with them. Yes,
Right.
but I mean, man, they have some issues with us, and they've already they're making fun of us. They're straight up going on
So
their
is Iran,
news,
yeah.
making fun of us, and it's like we were already worried with a war with China. It's like, why wouldn't they want us to destroy each other and be separated and fight each other until we're like, a mess, and then they push the
Look
button.
what COVID did.
Right.
Our aircraft carriers get infected, have to be
Seriously.
cleaned out and all that stuff.
Yeah.
And they want us off base. So it's been look, man, it's been decades of favorable treatment for China.
Yep.
All our politicians and leaders have been doing all these really great and beautiful, nice things for them.
Yep.
And now all of a sudden, Trump's pulling the rug out from under them.
Yeah. Trump's like, no more China. No. America.
America
Yeah.
first.
Well,
It's
let's put a tag.
Yeah,
in,
we're spinning. We're spiraling.
Right.
We're spiraling.
I want to keep it to.
I mean, as I said, it's complicated.
It isn't.
we got to keep it to guns.
complicated.
we got to keep it to guns.
Okay.
So
Okay.
check this out. You guys may have seen this story.
Spicy.
It is the Second Amendment has never been stronger. I think we're going to see the crushing of a lot of these laws.
Yep.
I'm being a bit, I don't know.
Hyperbolic.
No, optimistic.
Okay.
In like what's to come.
Tim being hyperbolic? What? No.
But look at this story. Florida sheriff to looters. I'm advising armed homeowners to blow you back out of their house with their guns.
Ooh.
You want to know something funny?
Well, technically, he was advising anyone who wanted to go into those neighborhoods.
Fair warning.
He was
right?
warning them.
There's this tweet, and I love it. And it's a picture of three men on a rooftop with AR-15s.
Okay.
And it says, "Heads up! There's men armed with guns on the top of these roofs. Don't go to this place."
Yes.
And I was like, "You have just proven the point of why they're on the roof with guns."
That's the whole point.
The protesters who are marching around, these guys went up on the roof to protect the business, and then the social media says, "Don't go that way. Don't go that way. They have guns."
Yep.
It's like, there you go. Point proven.
So now, once there's guns everywhere, protests will be peaceful.
I think there is a good point to be made in the fact that accidental deaths will probably go up. Like the guy was telling me earlier, he's really scared about a bunch of untrained people now getting armed.
Yep, agreed.
It's fair, man. Let me tell you the story that I read once. So I actually went to this gun rights thing in Chicago a long time ago.
Okay.
It's a very famous woman who told the story about how I'm going to miss the details, but I know all you guys probably know this one. She was apparently Texas passed a law saying you couldn't bring a gun or something into a restaurant or something like this. She leaves it in her car.
Okay.
She goes in and she was eating dinner or something when a shooting happened, and she had
In the restaurant.
yeah, and
Okay.
so she was like, "My gun is right there. I can't do anything about it." So apparently she's a very famous advocate, campaigner and everything. And I was in Chicago skating around or something, and I can't remember exactly why. As my friend worked at the Thompson Center, I think it was.
Okay.
And is that what it's called? I think it is. My friend worked there, and so I was hanging out and I saw it. And I thought it was an interesting story. I didn't really think much of it, but someone there told me the story about the concerns of rapid escalation. And they told me a story about there was a car accident, a fender bender. Somebody accidentally rear-ended somebody else. Apparently the guy who got rear-ended was livid.
Ooh.
Gets out of his car freaking out, like, "You a moron, what are you doing?" Yelling. And he's strapped. He's got his gun in his holster. Mm-hmm. So the guy getting out of his car who rear-ended him was like anxiety super high, flustered because this guy's yelling. Mm-hmm. He sees the guy get out with his gun, and he puts his hand down by his hip and puts his hand up saying stop, because this guy's freaking out. When the guy in front sees him put his hand near his hip, the other guy reaches for his. Then the guy in the back thought he was drawing for it, so he pulls his out, and they both pulled him out and started shooting at each other.
Oh my gosh.
It's a story someone told me.
Okay.
They told me it was the fear.
Well,
of,
true or not, though, that definitely shows, escalation in its truest form.
But this person
when it's emotional,
Right.
red-eyed, you can't see anything except anger. We're humans. That can happen to anyone, even the most peaceful person. Something can trigger that.
Yep.
We don't know until we're there.
So this person who was telling me this was apparently like part of the rally. They were like pro 2A, and they were just saying like that's why training and right, being
Huge.
smart. But the point they're bringing up is, I guess like the gist of what they were getting at was we're having a conversation about these things happen. You know, you can't run from them. You can't try and stop every single person because sometimes these things happen, and you know we recognize these things happen. Imagine you've got a hole springing in the bottom of a ship.
Okay.
It's like, well, yeah, sometimes that happens. You patch it up. You can't literally stop it from happening, so it never happens. So imagine you have a boat, you keep reinforcing the hull, and you've got 87 layers. You're like, now it will never spring a leak, and then you sink.
Yeah.
So it's like you got to recognize that. Or I'll put it this way: there was a story about like a mass shooting in Europe, and the response from the local government, from the country, I can't remember which one it was. It might have been Denmark. They were just like, sad. Moving on. What are you going to do? In America, something bad happens, we immediately say we need a new law.
Do we really though?
We need a new law, and it's like, but it was already illegal.
Yeah.
So then they try and ban cosmetics and stuff, and it starts getting out of hand. And now it's like, I was talking to somebody who was from Europe, telling me that I should get a gun, and I was like, I'm taking care of everything. And they said to get an AR-15, and I was like, well, yeah, but there's like a bunch of laws specifically targeting that weapon. And I was like, I think there are variants that are functionally equivalent that I can look into with different names that have bypassed these weird cosmetic assault laws or whatever. Mm-hmm. And then they asked me about like getting a machine gun or something. And I was like, those are completely illegal.
And they've been illegal since the 80s.
And I was like, look, it is a weird, circuitous, complicated, like when I'm filling out these forms, I'm like, what is this? What is that? What is this? There's like all these weird things on it. Like New Jersey doesn't make it easy.
Yeah.
And it still takes a long time. But I was explaining to them, a lot of Europeans think that in the U.S. everyone's got like a belt-fed, like World War II style, like
man, I wish
crazy machine gun.
Yeah,
but
I mean, there's people out there that probably have them that we don't know about. But
well, for sure, but not everyone.
Check the story out. Check this out.
Oh.
Wow.
Oh yeah.
This is the past 3 months.
6 million guns sold in 3 days.
No, 3 months.
In 3 months.
Oh,
sorry.
Oh, okay. I was like, whoa, that's a lot.
Now that'd be very different. That'd be worrying.
I'm like, wait, is this the same article that we're reading here?
Yeah.
6 million guns sold in 3 months.
Wow.
I was zoning out on that one. Yeah, it was like 1.7 million sold in May, which is a record apparently.
Wow.
And 40% are first-time gun buyers.
40%.
40%.
That's a lot of armed liberals. I'm almost afraid.
Well, now listen.
Gotta get trained.
Let's talk about the scary part.
What's the scary part?
I mean, we're dealing with the cusp of a civil war. There's the possibility that we de-escalate, but all we've ever seen is escalation, and no sign that anyone wants to give up. Like Nancy Pelosi, she's out marching in the protest right now, apparently. But what?
That's
our
ridiculous.
businesses can't reopen.
No,
It's
a lie.
Don't care. They
It's
flout the rules.
They're just taking advantage.
Yeah.
But that's another subject at hand, though, right? We're gonna go into the COVID side of things later, right?
Oh yeah.
But before we move on, I want to talk about this Black Lives Matter being armed, because I feel like no one's really talking about David Dorn, and he got shot and just protecting his own business.
No, it's his friend's business.
Or he worked there, I think, right, or something like that. Yeah. So it's his friend's business. We see all these businesses being destroyed that are actually Black members of the community that are their lives are being ruined now because of people that are marching for George Floyd. If they did what they're planning on doing, and they had these armed community militias essentially that are protecting their own communities, a lot of that wouldn't happen anymore.
I have to wonder about, they often say who benefits.
Yeah.
It's like a lot of
Always
conspiracy
question.
theorists, who benefits from this?
Right.
Key bono. Alex Jones liked to say it. Or I don't know if he still does. I don't watch his show. But it's a good question, because you look at what's happening with all these riots, and you have the rapper, I think his name is like Dream or something.
Okay.
You've got Killer Mike. You got people in Atlanta, which is like majority Black businesses. I don't think it's majority, but a very, very large proportion relative to other parts of the country. Mm-hmm. And they're going around, they're burning things and burning things down. And who benefits the most from all the destruction in Black communities? This is stopping the transfer of generational wealth. It's like you've got people who have been, historically come from oppression. And now through the civil rights and everything, we have done we've made tremendous strides to solving a lot of these issues, and now we have, the first black president, Barack Obama.
Yep.
A lot of great things have come. A lot of great things are to come, and there's a lot of things we got to solve. One of the things that's going to help with equality is the transfer of generational wealth. But if you look at these communities, you can see these riots break out, destroying their businesses and their livelihoods.
Yep.
And then it's crazy because when that rapper came out and said, dude, why are you destroying our businesses? They attacked him for it.
Why?
Who benefits, man?
Yeah, exactly. That doesn't make any sense to me.
I have to imagine.
Who are they fighting then, you know?
I have to imagine every regular American would love the idea of any other American, regardless of race, seeing prosperity and living the American dream.
Absolutely. I know I do.
But that's how we got to this point. From people finally being like, do your thing.
Like that woman who was yelling in the streets, like, yeah, I'm black and I'm not oppressed. I live in a country where if you have the ability to do something, you go out and do it. And I'm proof of that. And then that white girl is like, no, you're oppressed. And she's like, no, I'm not oppressed.
Right.
I'm telling you right now, I'm not oppressed.
Dude.
I was like, wow, that's a boss right there.
But I mean, look at Candace Owens, for instance. Successful. I'm assuming she's well off.
I would
money-wise.
think so.
Right.
And she says similar things. You know what, man? I call it's like Asian and Asian mixed people are Heisenberg's uncertainty people of color.
Okay.
Or Schrodinger's people of color. So I first called it Schrodinger's people of color because you are or you aren't, depending on which opinion you take.
Okay.
And then someone said, no, it's the Heisenberg uncertainty. So basically what happens is, for me, if I say to one of these people, I agree with you, then all of a sudden now they respect my family and, my history and everything. If I say, I'm not oppressed, I disagree with you, they say, oh, because you're white.
Right.
So that woman, it just becomes a weird cognitive dissonance, mind break thing.
Yeah.
There's a really crazy video where there's a black cop. He's older.
Yeah.
And there's a 20-year-old white college girl she says, why are you supporting white supremacy or something? He's like, what? I'm a cop. What are you talking about?
Yeah.
And she said the police are racist. And he was like, what? And she was like, yes, you're being oppressed. And he was like, I grew up during civil rights. What are you talking about, little white girl?
But that's what they believe. That's the narrative that has they can't look at anything else because then their beliefs will change. Yeah. It's funny. I see like we when you think of millennial, what does a millennial look like to you? Think about that. So that's fine. Hold that in your head. You don't have to answer it. But then you think about why we're complaining about millennials. It's like the people that feel entitled, that feel like they are owed stuff and they don't have to work for it.
Yeah.
That's really familiar right now because a lot of people are it feels like it's the same argument right now. Like, why can't we just get stuff for free? It's like, and it's not a race issue. That's the problem. It's not has nothing to do with race.
Listen.
It's all about, the society has just fed it to us that we are owed stuff. And it's like, we're not. You got to go out and get it. You got to earn it.
Thanks for checking out this clip from the Timcast IRL podcast. We do the show live Monday through Friday at 8 p.m. If you want to catch the full show, tune in to this channel, subscribe, hit the like button, or check us out on iTunes and Spotify. And we will soon have this podcast up for free on all podcast platforms. Thanks for hanging out, and we'll see you all in the next episode.